us reason together. Great minds, we are open to reality. Oh, we want to know more. We are hungry for more. We are curious, always searching for the truth. Great minds, come let us reason together. Great minds, come let us reason together. Come let us reason. Great minds, come let us reason together. Great minds, come let us reason.
Great minds, great minds. Welcome back to the Young Adults Real Talk Forum, a place where great minds meet to talk about real issues in today's Christian society. We open this show in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. Great minds.
Amen.
It has been a hot minute. Oh my goodness. You guys didn't come looking for me, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm here looking for you. I have missed you guys and super happy to be here with you today. And we have a very, very, very handsome panel today with us, and a very, very hot topic that we are going to be talking about today. And I cannot wait to get all up in there and in their business. And okay, I'll stop. Tina, what are we talking about today for the great minds out there?
Hi, I know we do miss you. We didn't really come look for you. I mean, truth be told, we did not. But anyway, happy Sunday, all great miners. We do have great topic and hot topic. And like Patty said, handsome.
Okay.
We have, it is okay.
Well, I might just disappear again.
Okay, like I was saying, we have handsome men. We are handsome gentlemen among us today. And we are going to break it down like always, dissect the topic. And it's great. And today's topic we do have is real man talk. And I think this is overdue, I would say, because it's just because we haven't really talked about men issues. I don't know if there's, and anytime we say, they'll be like, men don't have any issues. It's just the ladies. So today we'll find out if men do have issues or not. That's why we have great panelists today with us. We are going to break it down. The goal today is to better understand men and allowing women to get in an in-depth look of what a man is made up of and what Bible says and their emotions and all that. So, men, my men here, are you guys ready? We have great hands. Are you guys ready? You guys are ready. So I think Patty's lost. Patty's gone. But anyway,
I'm here, girl. See, I told you. You said you didn't miss me, so I left, and now I'm back.
Okay, welcome back.
Okay, so now you missed me, so I'll come back. Okay, all right, guys, thank you so much, Justina. Real men talk. Oh my God, that's like a mouthful. That can mean so much, right? Real men talk, or is it real men talk, or is it like real men? You know, I can say like different tones, and it'll mean something different. But whatever it is, these men are going to talk today, and I have to introduce the panel so that they can help us get their brains moving with today's icebreaker, which I know Elder Ford's most favorite game in the world. So I had to bring it back just for him. And because I mentioned his name, guys, back with us again and again and again and again. But now he came back camouflage. Now he's a doctor. Was he a doctor last time he came? I think he was a pre-doctor. So he's like an official doctor, guys. Dr. Ford in the house. Welcome back to the show.
Hi.
Thank you. All right. He got his glasses on.
Dr. Ford is ready to go. Dr. Ford is ready to go. And Patty, I can see Patty. I can see Patty. Well, I'll continue with the introduction. And also coming back. Well, he hasn't been here in a while, in a long time. And well, let me say, he know himself. It's none other than our own brother Sinclair Sarkodia. Man, you've been missing for too long. You need to start looking for your sister, you know. You need to start, you know, you please do. Like, anyway. And my own, well, all of them are my, well, I don't want to get in trouble, okay? I just don't want to get in trouble. My own, Samuel Apia. When you hear the Apia, you know where he's coming from. So my own from my Chocho Mucho, Samuel Apia is here. He too has been gone too long. You need to start coming back, people, please. You need to start putting your names down. Like,
Yep.
It's on you.
in high places now. So
It's on you.
it is on me. It's on me. I take it. And then my own brother KG. Well, you haven't been missing too long, so I will say yes. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for honoring our invitation, and I know it's going to be great today. Back to you, Patty. And I have no idea.
Awesome. Listen, the devil is a lie. Justina has concorded something that keeps kicking me off, but I'm not going to go. I'm going to stay, Justina. You keep kicking me off the show, but it's all good, though. I'm going to be back. But listen, guys, if I disappear, don't worry. Give me 5, and I said 2. Give me 5, and I'll be back. Okay? But real quick, today's icebreaker is very simple. I kept it very clean and very simple for you guys. Today's icebreaker is gonna be a story of who would you save? Who likes that story? Yeah. Oh, you're not gonna raise your hand? Nobody?
No.
Okay. So the question goes to Samuel Apia. Sam, you are on an island and this big storm came. And now
I have no idea what is going on.
The storm just took her out.
The storm was
And I don't
really-
even know what the icebreaker is. She doesn't.
I know
tell me
the
what
answer.
icebreaker
I
is.
just know the answer. The storm.
So,
The storm
so I
took.
was you are on an island by yourself, and I think she might. I have no idea what these icebreakers are. She doesn't tell me. She never
That's
tells me what the icebreaker
hilarious.
is. So you are on an island. I'm just trying to put things together. You are on an island, and a
The
storm
storm.
comes by, and probably
Mhm.
who will you call? I think that's what she was going to ask. Who-
Well, I was going to call Pat, but her phone was off.
Wow. Wow.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious.
Oh my goodness! So you call
Oh,
Pat.
that's nice.
So now that her phone is off, who will you call?
I'll probably call. The first person that I'll call is my wife. I won't
Your
call
wife.
anyone other than my wife. So
Okay.
she's the first person to receive my call.
Okay, that's Meme. Okay, and well, I was going to call that phone, but
Smart answer.
KG, KG, who would you call? Who would you call?
Well, this may sound very spiritual, but I'll call on God first, and then I'll
Okay.
follow up with my wife.
Jesus. So okay.
Yeah,
I think you guys
that's fine.
they were
Right.
just running away, Tina, from like the icebreaker question. Like the other
That's
icebreaker
fine.
question. So Samuel kicks me off because he didn't want me to ask it. So I'm gonna ask you.
I was
Okay, then
actually
pick one.
going to call you when the storm came and it took you off.
Nope. So that's not even what I was gonna ask you. So the storm has come because I heard you say you'll call your wife. We're not gonna make it that easy for you. So the storm has come and you look into the ocean and your wife and your mother, both of them are drowning. Who would you say?
So
Oh.
at this point, my
No,
mom
don't
and
take
my
me
wife.
to this point. Take me back 10 years ago. Who would you say?
I was going to say my mom is already there, so I will just save my wife.
No. 10 years ago. 10 years ago, who would you say?
This hard decision because both are precious to me.
Uh-huh.
So if I have to save one, then I would run with both.
that is,
Brother, why out there? He don't want to sleep on a couch this week. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. All right, Justina. I think I've taken too much time in the icebreaker. I don't know if you asked Elder Ford, but I was gonna say his fiance. Yet to your fiance, Ford. Oh, it's drowning. And your
Nice.
mother.
I didn't even ask that Ford. I didn't ask Ford. I didn't ask Sinclair because apparently you took too long. But
Yes.
so Ford, who will you call? And I'll ask Sinclair.
So since Sam is going 10 years back, I'm also going 10 years in the future.
You know what? At this point, so now we know who you call. Okay, we know who you
Yeah.
call. Okay. Sinclair, who will you call?
Well, so I was confused at first. Is it who you will call or who you will
Who you
save?
say?
Who you would save?
Okay.
Save.
Okay, because when Kweku had the great answer, right? He'll call God, and
Yeah.
God is gonna save his wife, so he's good. But now you switch it up, so now you got to ask me, who will I save?
Yes.
If it's between my mom and my wife. Thankfully, because as crazy as I am, I've already thought of this question, and my mom might be watching the show. So, Mom, I'm sorry, but I'm saving my wife. She already knows that. So I love you, but we already had our time, and
Oh wow.
I love. She knows. Next question, please.
Amen.
That's a
Ooh.
great answer. You've already had your time. You got babies to have, a whole
I
life
know.
to live,
I
and you don't
know.
want to sleep outside this month. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Justina, let's get
let's
into
get
the
into it.
questions.
Yeah, so the following conversation is not tied to any specific church, but our focus on the Christian society and community as a whole. So this question, let me ask Ford. Today's topic is Roman talk. When we say Roman talk, can you define what, or in your own opinion, what does being a man mean?
Thank you so much for number one, the opportunity to even be a part of this amazing conversation. Thank you so much for having me as a panelist for this conversation. So to start off with a question, I think we'll go back to the first man that God made, and we'll look at the things that qualified him. We'll look at the things that qualified him, and so that's where we start. And
Mhm.
so when we look at Adam, we look at when God created Adam. We see in Genesis 1:26, he was created in the image and likeness of God. And then in chapter 2, we get more details about the way God created him. And so we see that for Adam, there were a couple of things that were true about Adam before God even brought a woman in his life. And so I think when we're talking about real men, it doesn't have to necessarily be, or we're talking about who a man is. It's not even in the context of marriage. It's just who you are before another person even comes in. Because if you don't know who you are before then you might miss it. And so, as far as who a true man is, I think that when we look at Adam, there were a couple of things that were true. Number one, Adam was in the presence of God. And so then when we're talking about who a real man is, that's somebody who has a relationship with God, somebody who stays in the presence of God, somebody who cherishes the presence of God. The next thing that was true about Adam is Adam also had work. And so then there was something that Adam was actively doing. And so then when we're talking about who a man is supposed to be, it's not somebody who is sitting at home all day without an aim, without a purpose. So that ties into the next thing with what Adam's work was. Adam also had a mandate. He had a very specific task that he was charged with, and God had told him that he should basically name everything that was in the garden, and whatever name that he gave the thing, that would end up being its name. And so then Adam had a very clear purpose. Adam was also the one that was going to begin the genealogy for all of mankind. And so that was also true about Adam. And so that also has to be true about man, that man also has to have a very clear purpose here on earth. And then probably the last thing that I'll say in the context of a relationship, I think another man that we do see is Abraham. And when God was thinking about destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, and he considered God was having a conversation with God. And God was like, shall I hide this from my servant Abraham, seeing that I have called him that he would lead his household to follow the ways of God. And so then a man also, not only is he, not only does a man have purpose, not only does a man have a relationship with God, but then within the context of a relationship, a man also leads his family to God. The man becomes the head of the household. The man is the one that leads, becomes like the spiritual lead or spiritual head of the family. And so when I think of who a man is, those are some of the things that come to mind.
Amazing. That's really amazing. Sinclair, do you have any adds on before we come up with?
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm glad that Elder Ford kind of went there in the historical aspect of a man, because in my mind I was thinking, it's a loaded question. What does being a man mean? Because I'm thinking, could it be spiritually, physically, biologically, psychologically, sociologically, or simply just today's a preference? Being a man seems to be a preference, but it's like a man is the image and glory of God. 1 Corinthians 11:17. A man as a husband is a leader of the household. Ephesians 5:23. A man is an obedient to his true father. John 5:19. But it's like being a man, in my opinion, it's like being water, right? And like in its liquid state, it's like having the source of life and having the ability to be fluid, adapting to the need of the circumstances of your life, to fill in the gap, and at the same time being strong enough to erode mountains. And in a solid state, you have to be able to be strong enough to be a foundation for your family. And in a gas state, you have to have the ability to alleviate the stress and the vicissitude of life, to simply just have it evaporate. Right? So for me, in my opinion, that would be what a man is considered to be.
That's deep. That's poetic.
Even amazing.
Yes. And I love that you took us to that level, Sinclair, because it's not so surface level and so practical, right? It's far more. Because I think even some men get confused and say, well, if you're a father, you're a man. You have a child, if you have a wife, a house, a car, what you're saying is like a more of an inner being, like an inner presence that comes, that kind of just protrudes out to everybody. I love that. And guys, great minds, I want to hear from you. I see Nana is in the comments. Yes, sir, indeed, to that comment that Sinclair just gave us. That's amazing. And I think, Tina, it's a perfect segue into our next question, because now that we understand what a man is, I'm curious, Samuel, what are some challenges do you think, like societal challenges, do you think men face that sometimes something like this that Sinclair just walked us through, they're not even able to get on that level, or not even able to understand all the components of what it means to be a man? What are some societal challenges that we face or that you face?
Thank you so much. Once again, thank you for bringing me back to the show. The pioneers left out and now bring it back. Thank you.
Are you throwing a shade? That was like some minor.
I didn't say anything. I'm just thanking you for bringing me back. So, with that being said, the question, what are the societal pressure that men faces? I try to group them into 3 categories. Like we have peer pressure. No matter what age, there's still going to be a peer pressure from there. And then we have academic pressure as well. And then we have socioeconomic pressure also that comes with the status in the society. So these pressures are what men faces. We face a lot from peer pressure because we want to belong. We want to see ourselves as our peers. We don't want someone to be above us. We know from creation, man was created before woman. and men
Mhm.
has always been in the shape that we have to be the head. As the Bible says, we are the head of the home, which sometimes I argue because as the head, we still see the woman being the head of the home when it comes to something. So we kind of get this pressure from our peers. What are you doing that I'm not doing? That put pressure on me. And then sometimes too, your peers might also refer you what things that they are doing that you are not doing, and that pushes you. And also when it comes to the academic pressure, we also have that academic pressure of what what have I been able to achieve as a man. And if you look at yourself and you look at someone else, or you look at the other man standing beside you, and you see that you have not been at the level of that man, that also brings some kind of pressure on you. And then the socioeconomic pressure is the status of a man in the society. What is my status in this place? Where do I stand? That put pressure on me. Should I push myself to stand in a position that I will feel comfortable, or I will say that, yes, I am ahead of someone. Yes, I am at the same level of the person that everybody is hailing. Or what are people saying about me, about the status that I have in the society? Are they looking down on me? Are they calling me when it comes to some things? If they are not, then they put pressure on me. How can I get there? So I would say that yes, men go through a lot of pressure. That is societal pressure. Men go through a lot of societal pressure, either from our own convention or from the society coming to us.
Yeah, that's so true. And to come to you, KG, real quick with what with what Sam just said. Why do men put so much pressure on themselves? I feel like some men, right? They put so much pressure on themselves in terms of like what Sam is even saying, what's the way society sees you. Let's say you go through a time frame where you're not working, you can't work for whatever the reason may be. Maybe you lost your job, or maybe you're in school. But just even being at home and not working, even if when the woman is okay and we're happy, we're content, the man is like unhappy and dissatisfied and like, I just need to be the man and do something. Why do you think that is? Why is that such a pressure for you guys? Is it society that's making it a pressure, or is it like the way God created you? Because clearly you guys are a lot more complicated than females. But what do you think it is? What do you think it is, KG?
Well, I see it more of like a crisis that the men are kind of going through. When you look back in the days, our father's time, our grandfather's time, or our grandparents, life was much simpler. Everybody knew their roles, and there were certain guidelines, there were certain things that define certain things. So even most people define, who they were as men or as women based on these roles. We had the roles where the women stay home, take care of the babies, cook the food, just make sure everything is tidy up. The men went to work, they bring home the bacon, make sure the groceries and everything are taken care of the kids. So as a result of that, we define ourselves, because I wear the pants in this house, I go out there and then I bring home what is needed. That is what defines me as a man. And then we came into the 21st century and total anarchy just unleashed. The woman is also wearing pants.
Winter time.
She's not only bringing home the bacon, she brings the whole pig. She got her own car. She got the house. She doesn't bring the groceries. She owns the refrigerator fully stocked. So then the man is standing there wondering, so then what am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing? So I see one of the things, I was reading this scripture and it just blessed me so much. Psalm 62 from the verse 3 to 5. He says, how long would you assault me? And he's talking about the man. Will all of you throw me down this leaning wall, this tottering fence? surely they intend to topple me from the lofty place. They take delight in lies. With their mouth they bless, but with their heart they curse. Yes, my soul find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. And I look at the aspect of, he's talking about the man is leaning, and you look at society is pushing up on him. The woman is also even pushing up on the kids. Everything is pushing up on him. What are they saying? You never do anything right. You just like your father. You could never finish anything. You could never succeed in anything. You're a loser. You can't keep a job. You can't keep your kids. You can't keep your wife. All these pushing is, and they don't, and most of the time, even the women don't even know what they're doing. The abusing of his masculinity, and they are pushing. And so this is some of the things that society is assaulting a man and trying to topple him from this lofty place that he is. And they find delight in lying, delight in the lies that they tell concerning men. Look at how we celebrate Mother's Day and how we take Father's Day. It's like everything about the man, most of the time you look at it, there's nothing really to be even. There's no proud even to become a man. So you find men are trying to be even to become a woman today. And so in the man's mind today, there's a lot of problems that is happening. In a man's mind right today, men don't feel a sense of power of self-confidence anymore. They don't feel the power of social roles anymore like they used to be before. They would define themselves. They don't feel the power of their masculinity. Many of them are not even sure they are even a woman. You see a whole lot of stuff.
That's deep.
Many men feel like they are not wanted by the woman anymore because, let's be frank, she got the house, she got the car, before you met her, she had her own everything.
Yeah.
But then when you come in and it's like, well, I thought I was gonna buy you. Can I buy you a house? I got my own house. Can I give you some money for this? But I got my own money. She's even making more than you do. So then, like, at the end of the day, what then? And then she will come around and turn around and tell you, be a man. It's like the guy doesn't know me. That's one of the most frustrating things that most of the time men will hear. It's like, be a man. It's like, I thought taking care of the house and bringing in this and bringing in that. So the roles were the thing that was defining everything. And now they are not sure. They're not sure what is happening anymore. So at the end of the day, when you look at what is happening, we find ourselves in a crisis, and a very serious crisis. Men don't feel a sense of appreciation. They don't feel respected, and most of them has lost security in everything. So that's the reason why most of the time you look at even most men are being feminized. They want to be like a woman because it seems like being a woman comes with a lot of perks.
I mean, it does, but I'm just saying. But no. No, okay. What you're saying is fire. And I want to bring Nana in for a second. He said, I think it's our natural instinct, which I do agree. But you said something. You said that it's almost like society / plus kind of sort of women are abusing the men's masculinity. That is deep, because I think even this will be a man, do this. We say those things. And we don't think about what that even means to the man or how the man feels. I think a lot of times, a lot of emotions are always from the female's perspective, what I'm not getting from you, what I need from you, but not necessarily how you feel. So just before you come in here, Sinclair, you look like you itching over there to say something. So I'm just gonna let you.
I actually even have a
I can
question.
feel
I have a
the pressure
follow-up.
from here. So you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. So my brother senior, my mentor Quick, who always have a way with words to be able to just illustrate in the deepest fashions of what we have. And the reason I was itching was that we kind of know what is happening, but what is the cause of it and how do we fix it, right? Because if you take away what is traditionally understood as the role of a man and the man is lost, then what happens? There's this song that I remember back in the day. There were the men. It was a group of men that was singing, I don't want a woman who needs me. I just want a woman who wants me. And they consider that the independent woman. And I was thinking, if you have a woman who just wants you and don't need you, then as soon as she doesn't want you anymore, you're gone. So you actually want a woman who needs you, So when she no longer wants you, you're still there, right? But so it is the idea that we have eroded to the point where we have elevated women, which we should, to the point that they can do anything, and they always could, right?
Mhm.
Women can always do anything and more. But it's the idea of like, I don't need a man has become
Yeah.
kind of like the going rate, right? It has become, I don't need a man, rather, instead of saying I don't need a man to tell me who I am, right? In
Yeah.
the same way that I don't need a woman to tell me who I am, because I have God who tells me who I am, right? And I think our brother Kweku mentioned it earlier that most men are lost. And the reason why we are lost is because we are looking at society to tell us who we are rather than look at what God says we are.
Yep.
And if you always look at that, you will always be lost. I don't care about what position I have. I don't care whether my wife wears the pants in the family or yoga pants or stretch pants or whatever pants you choose to wear. It will never change who I know I am in Christ Jesus. And without that, we will continuously be lost.
I wanna come in and let me ask you, Sam, because what Kwaku was saying, Kwaku was talking, he said about in the beginning, right? Man created man in his own image. Even Ford said it. And Ford did mention, and I also remember reading Understanding the Purpose and Power of a Man by Miles Monroe. It says that man was created for work. A woman was created as a helper. And KG, you did mention now society has really actually, how do I put it, has actually drawn a line where it says this is the job of a man and this is the job of a woman. And that's what is bringing pressure. So Sam, to you, and then I come to Ford. What can men do? Because at this point, KG said, in 21st century, a woman can buy her own house. We don't need a man. And that has been the feminism movement that's going on and has really come into the church. What can men do, or what should men do to be able to know their place? Like, they know their place from the beginning, but as Sinclair just mentioned, is lost somewhere in transition. I don't even know what. What should men do to be able to really define who they are and then know their place and their purpose?
Yeah. I think Sinclair mentioned something which I agree with him. If a man will get lost in the midst of the ocean, it depends on him and how he thinks. If you think shallowly, if you think that you are no more a man, you have already condemned yourself, so you will get lost. But if your focus or if your thinking is that I am a man, it's not the money that I have, it's not what I'm able to do that only defines me as a man, but the fact that God has created me as a man is also something that defines me, that I am a man, then you don't get lost. Then you don't you don't shift your focus or your attention from what you need to achieve to something else because you want to bring yourself out of the ocean because you think you are drowning. You were created as a man. You are fearfully and wonderfully made by God. So you don't have to lose that focus of who God has made you. I think when you make your focus being on the fact that God has made you a man, it will even push you more to do what you have to do to be a man, rather than thinking that I'm lost, rather than making it seem like, oh, I don't have this, so I'm not a man, rather than making it look like, oh, my wife gets more than I do get, so I'm no more a man. Why? How do you think so inferior about your own self? And how do you expect someone from outside to think better of you when you don't think better of yourself? So you have to have your self-confidence. You have to stand and say that, yes, I am who I am because of who God has made me.
Yeah.
You don't give yourself to the negative thoughts of I don't have, so I don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
That will put more pressure on you. That put more pressure on men. But if you stand firm and said that I am made by God as a man in his own image, so I will move forward as a man, then you don't get lost. So I think for your question, we get lost by our own thinking, by our own standard that we've set for ourselves, not focusing on God or what God has made us, but focusing on the standard that we want to set for ourselves and put ourselves in a box instead of coming out of the box and then experience what God has made us. We set something for ourselves and that we just get confused or we get discouraged when we don't achieve some things.
Thank you. Eda Ford, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, actually, I think that some of the changes that have happened in our society has actually been a good thing. And so seeing more women like working, able to provide for themselves and all these things, I actually think that's a good thing. Only because when God gave man the mandates, and when God gave man basically just parameters, I don't think that God was ignorant that there would come a time that society would change so much that women would be in the position to be able to make ends meet. I think that in our world today, we all have wives, sisters, aunties, and women that are able to do really good work and really impact people. And as a result, they are making they're able to really support themselves, and then ultimately, if they are married, they're able to support their families. And I think that's a good thing. Only because what it does is that to kind of tie what everybody's been saying so far, it really causes us to really focus on what a man is or who a man is, right? Because I think that prior to a lot of these changes that have happened, particularly in the last century or so, what we really had as the role of a man and and as the role of a woman, we really just had gender roles. And I think that gender roles really have the potential to cause or produce a lot of like masculinity, and also to an extent toxic femininity as well, right? So then I don't necessarily think that we are at war with feminism at this time, more so as we are being challenged to like refocus on what it really means to be a man, what it really means to be a woman. So now going back to what scripture says, what scripture gives man as man, and scripture says that as a woman, the woman is a helper. I don't think that what God gave us was gender roles. I think what God gave us was a spiritual mandate. And I think to what Sam said, I love that so much, because he's saying that like regardless of the realities that are happening, regardless of who's making more, regardless of whatever the natural dynamics are, who we really are is really a spiritual thing. So that's what we need to focus on, and really focus on whether or not we're aligned with the spiritual mandates that God has given to us as men and women. And as we're talking about men, we need to refocus on what it is that God has given to us as men. And the physical dynamics doesn't change anything. If as a man if you're married, that is, if as a man you're the leader of your home, then you need to focus on being the leader of your home. You should not be a leader only because you're able to provide. And I think that's what we've had in the past, where men only feel like they can lead when they're the ones that are providing, because when that sets in, that's when abuse also potentially sets in. But then we live in a time where that's not necessarily the case. So then it really shows even exactly how important it is for men to be in the authority that God has called them to be in, so that when we do that, I think that actually honors God more. Like if, for instance, you're in a situation where your wife makes more, but then your wife submits to you, and your wife, trusts you to be able to make the decisions that are best for their family, even though the wife is making more money than the husband is. I think that's even a lot more beautiful, and that really honors God and really shows that we really embrace the ordinances that God has given to us, and we care to follow that. And so that's just the little I wanted to add to what everybody else said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tina,
Go ahead.
I'm literally like letting this thing marinate
I know. Sick.
as they're
Same here.
talking because Ford and KG, and I mean all of you have said so much, but I just got a message from one of the great minds that says, Elder Ford, what is a man? From what you're saying. But I wanna ask a question real quick to Sam, that came to me right now, as you guys were talking, because I think, like you guys are saying, that the pressures of what KG said, even with you have to be a certain way, or like the man's role of taking charge and doing these things seems to have been abused or attacked or diluted. I think is probably a better word, because the woman is also doing that. But I don't think that it should be where, regardless how successful the woman is, how much she has, I feel like if you're a man, you are always a man. It
Yes.
doesn't matter. And look at that. Somebody just came in. Champion TV one. That's right. Let's pull them in. Took the words right out of my mouth. It doesn't matter if a woman makes more money than than the husband. It's all about the humility and respect for the husband if she makes more than the husband, right? And that's exactly where I was heading. And that's why,
Yep.
Samuel, I want to come to you, and then I want to hear from you, Kwaku, is if you are the definition that Sinclair gave us, a true man in your being, and it's not necessarily tangible to the things you possess, whether you possess, the wife is a possession, the house, a car, these things make you a man, but in inner you, if you're truly a man and you show that love and that care and that respect to your partner, the woman, I feel like she in turn, and I always say this, will make you the head of the house, will be that supporter for you, regardless how much she makes, right? It's like you treat your woman like a queen, and she would definitely treat you like a king that you are. I don't think these tangible, materialistic things should take place of your authority and your figure and who you are in the house. So I feel like if it is, Sam, what is wrong? Is it that you're not really being the true man that you are to your wife? Therefore, she feels like I got to step up and do this with the kids. I got to step up and, make these decisions that I'm not supposed to be making. Like, what is it that makes men feel like if a woman makes more money, if a woman has her own house, if a woman has all these possessions, that he still cannot be the head of the house, that she still cannot be the supporter that God created us to be? Where is that coming from?
So, thank you once again. To me, there's nothing wrong if my wife makes more than I do. There's nothing wrong if my wife has a higher status than I do. What will make it wrong is that if my wife has more than I do and I belittle myself or my status in the marriage, that makes it wrong. I have to stand as a man. Like I always say that women are not, or wives are not created to love their husbands. It's the man that has been mandated to love your wife. So if you love someone, you can go any extent to show respect to the person. So that is why I love how God put it, because if you don't read deep to it, you might think that it is the wife who should submit or respect you and you love. But for someone to love someone, you show respect to the person or the things that you love. So it doesn't take you out from the box that you shouldn't respect your wife if he earns more than you. I don't buy that idea that if I respect her because he earns more than me, then it will put me or belittle me, or it will make her feel more powerful in the home. So then if she makes more than me, I'm not going to respect her or anything. No. If my wife makes more than me, if my wife has higher class than me, I will still show her the love that God says I should show her. That will also bring her to the respect that he has to give to me. If I don't show her that love, that gives her more power. Because if you don't show her the love, she has everything that she needs. So if you are not showing her love, she can go somewhere else and get it. So she don't respect you anymore because you don't show her the love that she needs. So what I'm saying is, no matter what the woman has, I have to stand as a man. I have to accept the fact that God created me as a man in his own image. He created me as a man. And as a man, I have to stand and then walk in the image of God. And what is the image of God? The image of God is to love, is to show compassion, is to help. The image of God. Yesterday, when I was driving, I was just telling myself things that Jesus Christ was saying to the disciples at the latter days. When he was washing their feet, he says that whilst I walk with you, who serves? I am the one who has been serving you. Even though you think that I'm the master and you think you serve me, I have been serving you. So me as a man, it doesn't take anything from me to serve, to love, to help my wife, to help the society. It doesn't take anything out. Whether I have money, whether I don't have money, God created me without money from the dust. So the money that I have doesn't define me. The God that I have defines me. The image that I have is what is defining me, and not the money that I have. If I put that thing out of my mind, I'm able to stand as a man. So okay.
Right, that's really deep. So we are really diving into it. I mean, man, who is a man? What does a man mean? Sinclair, let me ask you this. I know when it comes, we are talking about men, and I don't know. So let me say this, what really brings fulfillment to men? I going back to Understanding the Purpose and the Power of a Man by Dr. Miles Monroe, and also listen to a video from Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo from Nigeria. I don't know if I said the last name right. Both of them, they mentioned that what really brings fulfillment to a man is their work, right? Is the work that they do. And okay, so they've said it. I've read it. I have my own opinions about that. But what is your opinion? What really brings fulfillment to a man, Sinclair?
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a fully loaded question. I think if you take it on the face value, saying that what brings fulfillment to men is their work, then you have to kind of dissect what work is, right? Because for some men, work it's simply just that, going to work or their job, bringing home money, and they're okay. For others, work means their family. What do they need to do in order to make sure that everyone in their household is secure? So with that context of what you said, I would have to know, when they say work, what do they mean? Do they mean the job they have, or do they mean the mandate that God has given them? For me, what brings me fulfillment is my assignment from God. So my assignment from God is what he has told me on how I'm supposed to love my wife and my children. That is irrespective of what they do. It has nothing to do with how she cooks, don't cook, clean, don't clean, whatever it may be. My mandate is how he has told me. Now, for everyone who's listening, I'm going to share something a little personal. Every time I go to God, if I'm trying to complain about my wife, he just goes straight back to me and said, it has nothing to do. I gave you the instructions. Right? Because if she's the flower and I'm the gardener, my assignment is to make sure the flower blooms. At what point is God going to go to the flower and say, how come you're not blooming? You're not. He's going to come straight to the garden and says, I've given you the assignment. You're supposed to water it. I've given you the assignment. You're supposed to till it, take away the weed, make sure that it stands strong. So if you're going to complain that the flower is not drinking when you pour water, if you're going to complain it doesn't take enough sunshine in, or whatever the case may be, nobody's looking at your wife. Nobody's looking at what they're doing, right? They're looking at you, the gardener, and seeing what you are doing. So for me to look at the garden and to see how beautiful it is flourishing, that brings me fulfillment. So whatever I have to do as a man to make sure that it flourish, that's what I'm doing. And it's to go back to what Sam was saying, it's not about how much money she's bringing. She can bring in boatload or less. It doesn't matter. What am I doing to make sure that the household is flourishing? Secondly, to what Kweku and I think Dr. Ford was saying, it's not that we're trying to put a dampen on the success or the elevation of women, but for us to understand that if you are a man, you are a leader. God dictates that, and we understand it as those who are believers of God, right? But you have to understand is that if we are leaders, you are only as good as your follower. And no follower is going to continue to follow a leader that just keeps leading them the wrong path, right? So Kweku said something, and I thought it was so interesting. It's like, why are women now feeling the need to do everything for themselves? Maybe because the men are no longer leaders. So we have to now look at ourselves and look in the mirror and realizing that, are we the true leader? Because the leader does not have to bring in the biggest bacon. We don't have to bring in the pig, like Kweku was saying. When the pig comes, what do you do with the pig to make sure everyone is fed? That's the question. That's what a man does. That's what a leader does. That's what brings me fulfillment.
I like how you said that, honey. Listen. And listen, guys, I do want to pull in some from the chat because Sheila commented when we were talking earlier what Champion TV said about it doesn't really matter who makes more money. And I want us to generalize it for a second because it sounds like I don't want us to think about it like we're just talking about marriage, right? And what makes a man in marriage. We're talking just in general, right? And that's also a component of it, right? But I do want to pull in this handsome man in the chat, though. Felix the Chumpunk said, a man, he said, a man is a person who models his life after Christ. And I think that is a perfect segue into this next question that I have, because that's if a man is someone who models himself after Christ, so then the financial economics in your house does not matter. Because for a woman to be strong, for a woman to be empowered, for a woman to be successful, she needs her man. You need your man's help. It's something we do together. It's not your success, it's our success. It's not your money, it's our money. So I want us to kind of shift for a second and look at this question when we talk about what is in your head. Because, oh my gosh, Sinclair and Sam, I'm coming to both of you. And I'm going to go to Ford because I want to know what's in that single man's head. Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm going to back up. I'm going to start with Ford and I'm going to come back to you guys. Because one thing women always say, it's like, we don't know what you're thinking and you don't know what we're thinking, but there's this weird notion. It's like, you expect us to know what you're thinking. Like, hey, babe, what do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? And then I'll make something. And then you're like, that's not what I wanted. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic for another day. But so Ford, when we talk about in general, we're talking about what makes a man and all these different things. They said a man is a person who models his life after Christ and all these different things. But what is the one thing I would say that men wish women knew? What is one thing that all these women on the line, all these ladies watching today, all these great minds, what is the one thing men wish we knew, we understood? Again, coming back to a very complicated creature that you guys are. What is the one thing that you wish women knew about men?
I wish I knew age, sir. I wish women knew. I wish women knew that men are truly very simple.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. That's my one thing, and I mean that is very true. Like, like there's several memes. I think so. Here's the thing, right? Like, and just like speaking on very general terms, right? I think like sometimes because women, like, thank God you guys are so blessed in the way that you process and analyze things, right? So men analyze and process in a very linear pattern, but women don't. And I think women simply can't believe that men are capable of thinking about things in such a linear manner. And so it comes up so simple that it's almost like it's unbelievable. And I think that's the thing. It's like expect that to be complication, but it's really simple. Like the man is quiet. He's quietly sitting down. You think he's probably thinking about something, and you're asking him if he has something to say. He's like, nah. You're asking him if he's upset about something. He's like, nah. But you don't believe it because you can't believe that somebody can really be quiet and like not be upset. Like they have to be. If they're not talking about something, they must be upset about it. But like, I just wish that like more women would believe men when they say something. And this is like, and we're talking about godly men who are modeling their lives after Christ, you know, all the things. So, yeah, I think men are very simple. And so when men say, I'm doing this, or I'm thinking about this, or I'm not thinking about anything, men really have the ability to sit and not think about anything. So that's my one thing.
Justina, I can't even let Ford finish. Like I can't even
Yeah,
contain myself.
very,
Just hold
very
on. Just hold on.
unbelievable.
What you just said, Ford, was the most complicated thing ever. You guys are not simple. 1 + 1 = 2. If you look sad, then you must be sad. So why do you look sad but you're not sad? That's like a complicated formula. Okay.
Very.
So that tells me
No,
you guys are not.
no. But you see, you said look sad. So you have to realize that you are adding an interpretation to an appearance. That was not there before. That was created by you. So you're bringing the complication. The complication didn't exist. The man was just quiet, but you decided that he looked sad.
So
So that's
You
the
know
difference.
what?
That's where the
how
confusion comes.
come then?
So let me
How
hear
come
you, because
then?
Ford is
I
giving
know
me some
Sinclair is
goodness.
clapping. This is, you guys are too complicated. So how come then? You know, go ahead, Patty. I don't even want
No, I'm with you, Justina. I don't want us to take over this show. We should have had some ladies on this show. But yeah, let me ask quick the same question. Because Ford just gave us something really powerful. I mean, that's amazing. Because sometimes it's like that. We'll look at you and it's like, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, I'm looking at you, your eyebrow is like kind of like this, you're not okay. And it's, it's like, I want to help. Are you okay, babe? Let's talk about it. No, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong. And it's like, wait, but you don't want to talk to me about it or something? I just did like a whole argument scene. Like we just had a whole argument. You should have just told me what was going on. But KG, so is Ford saying what every man wants to know? Is what you wish for us to know as women is that you're really simple. What do every man want a woman to know?
I think most of the time we are dealing with the aspect of like most of the time we've been meant to say like women are complicated, but the opposite is also true. Men are also very complicated, and it becomes complicated in the sense that we are ignorant about both sexes.
Complicated.
Ford is shaking his head.
When you have the information and the knowledge, we are like Dr. Ford said, we are very simple. Most of the time, you look at most of the time the needs of each individual. The woman craves for honesty and openness. And so when she sees the man sitting there who is, lost in thought, trying to process something and trying to figure things out, he's a solution. He always trying to find when he sees that woman is going through problems and challenges, he's trying to bring a solution. And sometimes even the woman doesn't need it, but that's the way we are wired, to bring those kind of things. So he's trying to figure things out. He's trying to have all those things before he brings it out. But while he is in the process trying to figure all that out, the woman will see certain reactions, and all of a sudden, well, I need you to be open. When the man is still trying to cook the thing he's cooking, it's like, nah, not yet. I'm still trying to figure this thing out before I bring it out, because I don't want to bring something that is half-baked. When we see like that, most of the time women see like that, it's like he doesn't talk to me. It's like every time he's going through it, and they take it to the whole extreme, and it becomes a problem and the guy is sitting there like, what just happened? You're like, you just created a whole problem out of nothing. And then you figure out, the woman will then, launch back into the past, bring all the issues that can correlate.
Oh my God.
And so the guy is sitting there, is like, what did I just do? Like, and he's frozen. He can't say anything. So most of the time I look at this, I'm like, one thing that I in the question that you asked that I hope that women will understand. Men are not mind readers. We don't read your minds. Most of the time, The woman will like, well, like you were saying, I want you to, know what I want. We've been married for a long time, or you're supposed to know this. And it's like, yeah, I don't read your mind, but you're expecting me to do certain things. So we don't read minds. And one of the things that also men, like Dr. Ford was saying, in a linear aspect, we do one thing at a time. We're very simple people, so most of the time a woman can be multifaceted. She can, it's like a computer. She can be opening files over here, doing one thing over there, and all kinds of stuff. Men don't go like that. We like to be just, from one step to another, because the way that God has made it, we have to be, we like the horizon. We have to be constant. If we are all over the place, and the woman is also all over the place, then who do we have to be able to be the constant in the gauge? But God has created us to be the constant in such a way that you can predict that this guy would do this. He is like this. And the woman can be all over the place, doing so that at the end of the day, she can go down and come back up, and the sun is still there, the horizon is still there, something that will be able to keep her. So most of the time when it happens like that, the opposites, they don't understand it. They try to attack one another, instead of understanding these things are supposed to be complementing one another. And it's not like he's trying to hide from it. He's just trying to make things, sane for himself, sensible for himself, before he brings it out so that everybody can enjoy.
I know.
Amen.
Like, I'm trying to find words to ask you guys. You guys are saying you are not complicated, but you are simple.
Just, all I hear is complication. I just hear, it's
That's
like I'm
what
in
I'm
chemistry class.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
It's like I'm in chemistry. Like, it's just complicated. But I give it to you guys, Sinclair and Sam, and then I'll let Tina take it. I do get Ford though, and KG, because I think sometimes we do overanalyze Ford, and we do make a simple situation complicated, right? And then we look back and it's like, oh, had I just chilled, it wouldn't have turned out this way. So Sam, you're shaking your head too hard. Go ahead. Like, what do you got to say?
So, like I always use my wife as an example because she's the one that I'm living with, and sometimes she will just look at me and she said, "Say it." I was like, "Say what?" She said, "You have something in your mouth. You're about to say something. Say it." Even when her back is facing, like when her back, she still thinks that she has read my mind to think that there's something going on. Sometimes it might not even be something that is present, something that I might have passed like 2-3 weeks ago, that I'm trying to recollect and process it and see where maybe I went wrong and what I should have done it right, and then what I can do the next day, what I can do right about it. Sometimes it might not even be something about home. It might be something out that I'm trying to bring pieces together. So when I keep that quietness, thinking about it, just like KG said, I have this saying that I always believe that our accounts are from heaven as they believe, because there's a word that they have put on man called Eja. And when we call you Eja, it means somebody that has been, we have bestowed a responsibility upon you. We have left something to you. Eja, we have Yejawadie. So a man has this whole word put on him because you were created unto it before a woman was taken out from you. So you have this all responsibilities, taking pieces together. If you rush, you might it might fall from your hand. So you have to walk slowly whilst you are holding these whole responsibilities that are bestowed upon you. So sometimes you take time to process it. And we will never, until the end of this earth, we will never understand a man and a woman, just like earth can never understand heaven and we can never understand God, because we are two different people with two different way of creation. So the way that we process things, no matter what, we cannot go away from it. So we take time to process it. sometimes the woman might not understand, or sometimes might not get the concept, and I don't fault them, because that is how they were created, to multitask. So a woman can have a baby at her back, cooking, washing, doing some things, and still thinking about the clothes that she put in the washing machine, or thinking about something else. A man may be doing something, and all that he is thinking about is what he is doing. And something, maybe the iron is on, he might forget about that, and boom, there's a fire. But the woman can multitask and do all that, and still think about what he did at the backyard or something. That is how you were created. And we thank God for you. God bless you so much. But sometimes we want you to understand that we process things as men before we bring it out. So if I'm quiet, it doesn't mean that I don't want to talk to you, or it doesn't mean I don't want to share with you. But because I'm boiling something, and when it is ready to eat, I will give it to you. I will serve you right on the plate. So let me boil it, and then when it's okay, then I will serve you. But if your question was asking me what men wish women knew, one thing that I can also say is compliment. Men wish women knew that compliment is one thing that they crave for. You sent me to go to the store to buy something, or I went to the store by myself to buy something for you that you didn't request for. If I come home and I give it to you, the first thing that I want the woman to know is to accept and thank me, compliment me, before arguing with me that I didn't buy what your heart desired.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. First of all, you know what? We don't have enough time on this show, Justina, for me to say everything I have to say. But Sam, you are giving it to us today. That is very powerful. So we should also thank you for going back to get the eggs that you should have got last week when I asked you to go get it. But definitely, I'm with you for sure. I want to pull in the chat, Tina. This chat is crazy. Dr. Nana said, women are pros at creating something that never existed. ... Elder Ford. All right, I hear you. We're pro at that. Felix Achampong also said, one of the talents God has given men is sometimes to think about absolutely nothing. It's a blessing. You know what? Listen, this show, Tina, I need like another hour because I got something to say about everybody's comment. But Sinclair, I'm gonna hold it in my throat and show you guys that I'm the simple being. And I'm not gonna create nothing out of something.
Well, and
Sinclair,
great show, great topic, great people as always.
yes, yes. And
And
Sinclair, you come in with your thought, and then Tina, you can take it, girl. These guys are definitely a real man's talk today.
Yeah, so complicated. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I am so grateful for this show, because right now it is now being therapeutic for all the men and husbands who are now watching the show, who are saying, "Honey, did you hear that?" Because I'm so glad they said it. I didn't say it because I don't want to get in trouble, right? You know, Sam, God bless you, because I have a rhetorical question for you, and it's rhetorical once you hear it, because have you ever created a thought and to an answer to your wife when there was none? And what I mean is that she's looking at you saying, "What are you thinking?" And you're like, "No, nothing." And you're like, "No, you look like you have something on your mind." And now you have to create something that's in your mind to say, even when you had nothing in there, just to suffice so that everything can be peaceful, right?
Yes.
So KG, to Kweku, you mentioned that we're not mind readers. I'm starting to think it's our fault, because as men, we anticipate our women's needs, our wife's needs, our siblings' needs, our family's needs. And by doing so and doing it so well, if you're that kind of man, they start to think you must be a mind reader, because man, you're bringing me what I need before. Wow, thank you. You brought my shoes. Oh, I didn't even know. So now they think we're mind readers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not mind readers. And to answer your question, what we wish
I was
you
rolling my
knew-
eyes. I don't know if you saw me.
what I can't speak for all men, so I'll make it brief, right? What we wish you knew, most women knew, is that men don't really care about being right. We just want to have peace.
Thank
We
you.
really do. Okay, that's number
Thank
one. You might think we do, but we don't. We just want to have peace. Secondly, you must understand that we know the value that you have and how powerful you are as women. Now, we may not admit it, we may not say it to you often, or maybe not at all, but we know. Okay, so we wish you guys knew that. Thirdly, we want you guys to understand how strong you are as women. And I'll say this, I think I've said it before, but I'll try to make it brief. Number one, as a woman, when you're born, as a child, you are already at a disparate, you're already coming from the lower, because as a woman, you are now looked down upon, you're preyed upon, you're probably not going to get paid that much when you go into the workforce. By the time you hit 10 years old, 11 years old, God blesses you with a menstrual cycle that you got to deal with every month. And then you got to make sure you don't scream at your boss. Then you come home. Then you got to be nice to all your kids. And then your husband who don't understand your cycle. And then he says, I love you. Then he puts something in the bun in the oven. You got to carry it for 9 months, deal with everybody and your husband. And then after you give birth, he said, oh yeah, I love you so much. I want to add one more to it. Now you have 2, 3 babies. You got to go through all of that. When you're done with all your 5, 10 kids, God blesses you with menopause, hot flashes, and what's not. Trust me, we are grateful that God made us men because we are not strong enough to be women. That's what we wish you knew. Amen.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
You know what, Sinclair? I'm
Part
gonna meet
two,
you.
but
I'm gonna meet you in the waiting room.
I'll be there.
only Sinclair, please. Really? Like, okay.
Goodness.
Let's move on. Let's move on. I think the next show will be just Sinclair and us because apparently the stuff that he's saying, and you guys are not complicated enough. So let me ask this: with all your complications, I just don't understand. Just shifting a little bit. Why is it so hard for? Do I say some men or all men take their health? They don't take their health serious, right? A woman will wake up, I don't feel well, and go to the hospital, go see a doctor, schedule a pap smear, schedule a physical once a year. Let me ask Sam, and let me ask Ford, and I come to Sam. Why is this so hard? So hard, and if not so complicated with men, not to take their health serious when it comes to their physical checkup. Why? It's something that bothers me a lot, and I just want
And the mental health too, Tina.
Yes. Why, Dr. Ford?
Yeah, great question. I think that's definitely something that we're guilty of. And so I don't think that there is any excuse for it. I think it's something that we absolutely need to do better at. But I think as far as why that's the case is because I think there's like a general societal expectation that is placed on men for men to be supermen. And so because of it, men always want to posture as being strong. And so for you to go do a checkup and they find something wrong, that means that all of a sudden now a weakness has shown up, and then now you can't maintain your Superman status or something like that. Same thing with mental health. We're supposed to be strong. I think especially in minority communities, growing up, you mostly hear that, as a man, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show emotion. You're always supposed to be the one that's strong so you can be strong for your family. And so with that, especially when families are going through a tough time of grieving, often it's the men that would be the one to make sure everybody's good. I think Sinclair has said that men naturally, I think Okoku has said that naturally men are supposed to be the ones that provide solutions to problems. And so I think sometimes we get so focused on that and forget the fact that in order for us to be able to take care of other people, we got to take care of ourselves. And
Yes.
the better we take care of ourselves, the better we can take care of others as well who are entrusted into our care. And so I think that that's why, but I don't think it's an excuse that we need to hold on to. I think we definitely need to do better at taking better care of ourselves, myself included. And so
Yeah.
that's what the situation is, and we need to do better. In
And
Jesus'
I'm calling y'all by Wednesday. Please make your physical appointment with your doctors.
Already did
I'm
mine for the
checking
year.
in. Oh, you did? Okay.
Already
You
did
did.
mine.
Hey, but Gina,
They
what
know
about the
themselves.
mental health piece though? Why don't they talk about that? Like just
Sam.
in general, men.
Because you guys
Question
are
for Sam.
complicated.
Okay.
Sam, this
Yeah.
question, and then Kay, you come in.
So let's just switch
So-
sides. So is he still going to be in the waiting room? That's what I want to
He's
know.
gonna be in the waiting room. We don't mind him.
It's so easy for me to tell my wife, baby, do you want me to take you to the emergency? Do you want me to take you to the doctor? Whenever she complains about any pain, any pain, I just wanna rush and take her. But when I have pain, I can't even say it for her to say, can I take you? Or do you wanna go to I don't know what is it for men that we take pride in taking, like for me, I take pride in taking my wife or my kids to the doctor, but I don't go. And then I don't take medicine. And then when I'm sick, it just on me and then it goes. And I think I feel good. So like last week I received an email from work for next year enrollment. And I was like, oh, I just realized I was paying for dental and I've never even gone there. So I have to make this happen before the end of the year for my money to go waste. So it's something that we are not good at. Myself and 99% men not
0.9.
good at visiting the doctor or visiting the hospital. Once I get my physicals done for the year, that is it. I don't want to go there again. I don't I don't want to see anything. I don't I don't want to be told anything or any form of anything. I just want to keep what I have to myself and move. If something is going back end, God will deal with it at the back, and I move on. So I think it's something that I do, and most men also do. And to top it off with the mental health, that we don't talk about it, that is the same situation. We don't want to be limited. We don't want to discuss something that will make it seems like, oh, then you are getting weak, or oh, then there's something wrong with you, or oh, then you need help from someone, because the man thinks that he has to help. Like the pressure that we were discussing from the beginning, I feel like I have to provide financially for my home. So if I'm not doing that, then it put pressure on me. The same way with the help, I feel like I have to help and not somebody helping me. So if there's any mental issue going on with me, I want to keep it to myself, because as soon as I expose it, it means somebody has to help me as a man, rather than me helping someone. And it makes me feel like I'm limited. So I think one thing that makes men not able to discuss our mental health or mental issues, things that are bothering us, things that are putting us in a shell, we are not able to mention it or talk about it, is that we don't want to feel limited. And that is one thing that is making pushing us to keep to ourselves.
That's powerful.
I will
That
add
is so
this.
powerful. And thank you for sharing that. And I love how you broke down even the medical piece, right? It's like you don't want to know, you don't want to hear, where females are completely opposite, where we want to know, we want to prevent, we want to help, we want to draft a solution for it. Again, complication, non-complication.
On the
But guys, we are almost out of time. Like I don't even want to leave. Like, but I do have this question that I want us to end with, because a lot of the times society makes us think that females are the only beings that are so sensitive to our physical physique, what we look like, how big we are, how small my waist is,
That is true.
you know, depending on the wig, how big my head is with the wig, right?
That
Like
is
all
true.
these different things, all these different things. So I want to know, as men in general, your thought process when it comes to body sensitivity, like your body image, specifically, are men as sensitive as women when it comes to what you look like, how big your belly is, whether you got a 1-pack, a 2-pack, a 6-pack, or a 12-pack? You know, like does those things get you, like, you know, like for a female, if you see yourself and you're a little bit big, you can't fit into your favorite jeans, it's crisis, right? And it's like, listen, I gotta lose weight. I don't want to talk to anybody this week. I need to lose like 3 pounds to fit into this. Are men that sensitive also when it comes to, you know, those areas and those things as well? And I want to hear from everybody, and then we'll give it to Tina to close us out. So KG, starting from the top, are men sensitive about your physical image?
Before marriage, no, not so much. Maybe after marriage, we get a little bit, you know, on that aspect
That's
of it.
interesting.
When it's just us, we are just concerned with about the things that we need to get life going on so much that we don't really look at how, you know, people view our appearance and all that kind of stuff. You know, today in our age, it has become, you know, a whole lot. You see that, you know, social media has made that situation become a little bit complicated. Everybody want to look, you know, so that they can take a picture and, you know, post it out and all that kind of stuff. But most of the time, for most men, I would say real men really most of the time don't really worry about that. I rather worry about my wife looking good. I want to make sure she is, you know, like I see like a plant. She's the flower, like Sinclair said early on. She's like the flower. I'm more like the plant. So I want to make sure she blows because she's my glory. So I want to make sure my glory shines more, and I'll be in it, you know, in the back and just making sure, because whatever compliment and whatever congregation she gets is coming to me. It's like, wow, you look good. Like, yeah, he must be doing a good job for his wife to be doing this good. So that is my focus. So if I come and if I look better than she is, that's a problem. But I want to make sure she was always doing it and she's looking more better. That's my focus. So most of the time, you know, I come in, I don't feel so many different things. Like we were talking about even the issues with men, you know, not going for their physicals and stuff like that. It's just the way, you know, we're wired. You know, we are there to be strong. We are there to make sure everything is catered for the house, for the children, and for everything for the woman. So most of the time when we are dealing with this kind of thing, we don't really do. But what brings our attention to that is the woman also focusing on us and trying, hey, I want us people to look, because this is now is a partnership. As you are taking care of me, I want to make sure other people also see you, that I'm also taking care of you. Because when we were talking earlier, it's amazing that God says, I will create a suitable helpmate for him. The guy needed help. And that's one of the biggest problems for men. We don't even know we need help. It takes the woman to come in. And one of the hardest things for a man is to receive help. And so most of the time, even though God is the one that says you need help, but for us to receive that help, so the woman will be telling, you are going on the road, you know we lost. Why you don't go for directions? The guy is like, is building him to be a leader. He wants to be able to bring all these things together. It's hard for a man to get that help, and that all these aspects of, you know, mental, you know, looking at our self-image and all that kind of stuff. We want to be like the Superman, like we're saying. Nobody want to see a Clark Kent, and that is one part we don't want to show. We don't want to show the Clark Kent part of us. We want you all to see the Superman all the time, so that you can feel comfortable that we are strong and all that. And it takes a long time and a hard time for us to break down to come to, hey, there's the kryptonite in the situation. I'm Clark. And for that to come, yeah, it takes a long time for us to be able to. It's a process. We all
okay. Elder Richmond is also saying that our physical vital statistics are not like our beautiful women. We generally do not worry about how we look. We do sometimes, but not as women do. So this is cool to know. Samuel, just because we're almost out of time, if you can give me really short, why don't men worry if you're not that sensitive about your physical image?
So there was a group meeting today. I met some people today, and there were a group men and women, and then you could hear the conversation of the women talking about the size 12 not fitting them and the type of clothes that they think or they are getting big or they are getting, and then the men were also thinking about, oh, Panthers not scoring, and this two different communications. The women were focusing on their body and everything that will look good, and the men were focusing on the sports and all that. They were not focusing about anything about them. That is men. Men don't look at what the appearance as compared to women. Women look at the appearance, men don't. So my wife mostly will tell me, go and shave your hair, because she is looking at my appearance. I am not even looking. And she is looking at, so just like Kweku said, until we get married, we don't care about those things.
Wow, Justina, these are some complicated creatures, because these are also the same creatures that care what physical they see. Like
How
what
do
the
you look
woman
at it,
they're
though?
looking at. Sinclair and then Ford, we got like 2 minutes each, 1 minute each, if you can wrap us up, because y'all are I'm so glad the root cause today was discovered.
So I hope you bring us back to we could talk about the fact that you guys are more complicated than us. But we'll just go ahead and finish with what you were saying. To the question, for me, I think the answer would be yes. Men do care about their appearance, but it is specific to the task at hand. And what I mean by that is that if someone says that men only want fast cars because we know women like fast cars, right? So, generally I don't care, but now I know you want this, then I'm gonna do it. Hence the reason why Sam and Kweku is basically saying that it becomes more prevalent after you get married, because then your true focus is on your wife and what she wants, what she needs, and what she's interested in. So now you're wondering, what do I have to do in order to be able to fulfill that task, right? Because when it comes to our health, I'm not going to physical therapy or physical checkup unless my wife says something, and I'm only going because she said it. So now I'm doing it because that's what she wants, right? I think I was dragged to one by my wife, and then she's like, if I knew you've never been to one since 1995, I think I would have done that before we got married. And I was like, okay, so here we go. When it comes to our mental health, right, then it goes back to, for us, I feel like we define weakness as divulging vulnerabilities. So how then do you expect me to open up? Because then I'm just giving you my weakness for you to then somewhat use against me, not necessarily our wives, just in general, right? So I think after marriage, you then try to, for some reason, impress your wife because it means so much to you. Right now, I'm still trying to impress my wife. She comes home, I'm trying to put on the nicest clothes just to go downstairs and say, hey, honey, how you doing? So it changes in that aspect. But overall, men are only trying to look good just for you. If you leave us alone and it has nothing to do with you, I don't care about size 12, size 20, tight pants, skinny jeans, baggy jeans. It wouldn't even matter.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Ford, 1 minute. Can you help us out?
Yes, ma'am. I think that in general, actually, Elder Richmond echoed my sentiments exactly. So when men do care, it's definitely not as much as women do. I do think that there are situations where men really are sensitive about the way they look, and in those cases, there's a high chance that is driven by some underlying insecurity. And so some men, maybe they define their identity by how they are regarded by others, and so then that can produce this sense of, I got to look a certain way, I got to present myself a certain way, I got to dress a certain way, I got to look a certain way. And so there are instances like that when men are also like super sensitive about the way they look, but in those cases, there's a chance that it's driven by a sense of some underlying insecurity, and so that too, I think we need to check. So that's what I'll add to what everybody already said. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Tina?
I know. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And they said they are not complicated. Anyway, Justice said, I wonder who came up with these words. Menopause, menstruation, mental, etc. Everything has men in it. Everything mentioning has men in it. And then you guys are saying you're not complicated. Anyway, this was real.
And we have a bunch coming in from the chat, Tina, because we have Prince Owusu, I thought it just came in the chat too.
I know. It says the average man doesn't derive his confidence in this content, the state of being respected from their physical appearance. Thank you, everybody. This was great. We'll have part two. Part two. Thank you so much. This was really great. This was a real men talk. Real men talk. And we didn't even finish. We didn't even go through all our questions. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to our great minds at home. To our the co-host who was lost for a while, she's back. And my great IT support behind the scene. God bless you all as always. And please don't forget, we are coming back in 2 weeks' time. Please do check on your local platform for more and great programs going on this week. God bless you. And as always, come, let's reason together. God bless you. And y'all know you are staying behind because y'all in trouble. God bless you.
They are in trouble. Bye, great minds.
Great minds, come let us reason together. Great minds, we are open to reality. Oh, we want to know more, we are hungry for more. We are curious, always searching for the truth.